students, today's lesson is on the percent proportion. Since we know how to solve proportions, this is a very handy tool for solving any kind of percent problem. So let's take a look at what exactly the percent proportion is. You can represent A is a percent of W with the proportion A over W equals P over 100. So fill that down on your notes. A over W equals P over 100, where A is part of the whole, which is represented by W, and P percent, or P over 100, is the percent. So here's a simple example to show how this works. So if we're looking at 3 out of 4, the part would be 3, the whole would be 4, and 3 out of 4 equals 75 out of 100, 75%. So let's look at some examples where we're finding different parts of this. So in the first example, we're going to find the percent. That's the part that's missing. So this says, what percent of 15 is 12? Now, one of the keys for figuring out which number is the part and which is the whole is that the word is tells us that we're talking about the part, and the word of means we're talking about the whole. So when you say what percent of some number, that number would be the whole. So as we're looking at this, we're going to set up A over W equals P over 100, and now we're going to fill in the parts that we know. So we have the part, which is 12, and the whole, which is 15, and what we're solving for is the percent. So we're going to leave this as P over 100. Now, we can solve this in a variety of ways. We can solve the proportion by using cross products. So we could say 15P equals 1200. We could solve this one by just multiplying both sides by 100 to get the P by itself. We could figure out what it is that we're multiplying by to get from 15 to 100. We could simplify this ratio to make it something easier to multiply. A lot of ways you can go about solving this proportion, but it should be set up like this. So I'm going to go ahead and use cross products. So I'll say 15P equals 1200. I'm going to divide both sides by 15 and get P equals 80. So that means it's 80 over 100. We're talking 80%. And then I have this little picture here just so that we can see, is this a reasonable answer? And here we have, if the whole is 15 and we have 12, we're basically dividing this into fifths, where each fifth is 20%. So yeah, 12 would be 80% of 15. Here's our next example. This time we're finding the part. So we're given the whole, we're given the percent, we're going to solve for the part. So we're always going to start by writing A over W equals P over 100 so that we're sure we know what that percent proportion is. And this time it says of 50. So remember, that's a key that we're talking about the whole. So we don't know what the part is. We know the whole is 50. And we know that the percent is 36. So that's 36 over 100. Okay, so again, we can solve this in a variety of ways by using cross products to set up an equation. I think on this one, I'll just multiply both sides by 50. 50 over 100. Oops, 50 over 1. My mistake. Multiply both sides by 50 over 1. The 50s cross out here. Here we have 50 goes into itself once and into 100 2 times. So our part is 36 over 2, or 18. So we can kind of think about this to see if that's reasonable. 18 out of 50, yeah, that's about a third, or 36%. That seems about right. All right, here we have an example where we are finding the whole. So 150% of what number is 24? Okay, so in this case, the part is given to us, and we're looking for the whole, but the whole is going to be smaller than the part because the percent is greater than 100, right? So as we set this up, we have A over W equals P over 100. The part is 24, so we have 24 over W equals 150 over 100. Okay, so again, we can solve this in a variety of ways. I think I'll reduce the ratio 150 over 100 this time and say 50 goes into 153 times and into 102 times. So I'm going to rewrite this as 24 over W equals 3 over 2. And then I'll go ahead and solve it with cross product. So 3 times W is 3W, and that equals 24 times 2, which is 48. We'll divide both sides by 3. And we get W equals 16. So our whole here is 16. The part is 24, and that's why the part is more than 100% of that whole of 16. All right, let's look at one more example. Here we have this bar graph that shows the strengths of tornadoes that occurred in Alabama during the year 2011. What percent of the tornadoes were EF1s? So we could see there were 58 tornadoes that were in that particular category. So that would be the part. For the whole, we need to add up 36 plus 58 plus 29 plus 13 plus 7 plus 2. And when we add those up, we get 145. That's the total number of tornadoes that were recorded. So here we have the part, here we have the whole, and what we're solving for is the percent. So we have A over W equals P over 100. Our part is 58. Our whole is 145, and we're solving for our percent. Seems like a good one to use cross products. So we'll do 145P equals 58 times 100 is 5,800. We'll divide both sides by 145, and we get P equals 40. So that means that 40% of the tornadoes were EF1s. All right, that's it for now. Go ahead and try a few on your own, and I will see you soon.